Hi, it's Bobby from Fifth Avenue Cake Designs, and today we're going to paint cherry blossoms on a cherry blossom cake. With it being cherry blossom season and all, I thought it would be fun. So let's begin. So we're going to go in, we're going to make our little line. And at the moment I'm not worried if I haven't connected completely because I said we're going to go back. And cherry blossoms have a thick bark. It's on a tree, and the branches are pretty thick as well. Alright, so we have a light little guide. A little bit nuts over here with the guide, so let's take this off a little bit. And you can get this off fairly easily because I watered it down. I'm just going to come in. So I'm going to come with a cleaner brush, one that doesn't have any brown on it, and just take that off. Like so. There we go. Alright. Now we're going to paint in our cherry blossoms. And what you need to do that, I have a little bit of piping gel right here. And it came in a tube, so it's easy to use. And I'm using that as a medium, like you would for acrylic paint. And then I'm taking a little bit, or a lot of it, of electric pink. It came out a little bit more than I wanted. And just some really bright white. And I'm going to dip the toe. This is the toe of my brush, and this is the heel. I'm working with a 1/4 inch shader. I'm going to dip my toe in to my white and really load up that toe. And I'm not too worried that it's getting on my heel because cherry blossoms are fairly light. So I'm going to put the pink on my heel. So now we're loaded up. And then I'm going to go into my piping gel as my medium. I'm going to swipe. You can see I don't have enough white on one side. Both sides need to have the color, so that when you swipe, you have two colors showing. A lot of times white is the harder color to keep on the brush. So we'll start down here by making our first cherry blossom right on the base. And I'm going to start on my chisel. I'm going to sweep 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to scrub or wiggle, whichever you prefer as far as verbiage. I don't think I have enough white. I want a little bit more contrast there, so I'm going to go back and get some more white. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. Now you want to always start on your chisel, and then you want to always go back and forth, laying on your brush, coming up on your chisel, and coming over. You can put in the other side first, or you can go down and do your legs. Think of it as a head, 2 arms, and 2 legs. Come up on your chisel, and if you bring that in, you'll get a nice little curve to your petal. And that's in any type of a blossom that you do. Use your turntable so that you're not having to fight with your hands. Now later on when that dries, I'm going to go back over that because some of the brown got in there and I don't really like that look. Okay, now we're going to go over here and maybe put one right here. We're going to do the same thing. Scrub, scrub, scrub. I'm going to start on your chisel. Come flat down, come back up on your chisel once you get that scrubbing motion going. Come over to the other side. Now, depending on your dominant hand, your left side, for me, is going to be harder. If you're left-handed, the right side might be a little bit harder because it's an unusual position and you're mirroring what you're doing. But the more you practice, the easier that will become. And you'll probably want to use something so that you can turn back and forth. So there we go. And we'll put maybe a little bud over here. To do a cherry blossom bud, the buds are pretty tight, but they almost, I want to say they kind of feather. So the way that I do is I put in a petal that's fairly narrow, and then I go up just a little bit higher, put in another petal, and then I come back down to where I was, and I put in the third petal, so I can make my bud. And when that dries, I'll go in and add some calyxes over there. Alright, so you want to imagine that you have a branch coming off of your base guide. So your imaginary branch is coming right here, and we will later on put those in. So if we have imaginary branch, we'd have one right about here. So I'm going to put another bud there, and we will connect these all when the paint dries a little bit so that we don't have a gigantic mess of color. So we're putting in our 3 portions, coming up on our chisel to make a nice little curve. And if you want, if there's a portion that you didn't think had enough movement, you can go in with the tippy toe of your brush and just add that right in. Alright, so as we move up the cake, or actually we're not quite getting to the cake yet, we're going to have another imaginary branch coming right here. So I'm going to put another one here on the base of my cake so that everything flows in. And every once in a while, just grab a little bit of your piping gel. It will help your paint glide a little bit better. So we're going to put our next one, our flower right here, because we already have 2 buds going up on the other side. So let's say this is the head. And I'm going to show you some little tricks for this. So you're going to go in 1, 2, 3, scrub, 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 scrub. Make that petal look like it's going backwards. Then I did lift up because I want to come in like that. So rather than just keep going, I'm going to lift up my brush and bring it in. Kind of like a cheating way, but it works really well. And then right here, you have to figure out you probably want your next petal, so that would be like your arms. The more you can get your brush to scrub, and as you scrub, if you come up onto your chisel and back down, it will actually give you more movement. So we have 2 petals on. I like to put in both of my side petals. A lot of people will work around the petals. I like to just go ahead and get these in. So I'm going to scrub on this side the same way. And because it is my left side and I cannot see over my hand, I'm going to stop, come up on my chisel, and bring it down, rather than make it one full movement. And this technique is a one-stroke method. There are quite a few people who do it. Marjorie Clark does it, and she makes some beautiful Limoges roses. Donna Dewberry has taught several classes, and she does her own neat little thing. Alright, so you can always go in, I don't know if you can see, with your white. And remember, we're going to have some stamens in there, so I'm not that concerned. So we finished the cake. I've put on some individually petaled gum paste cherry blossoms, and then I've done 5-petal, it's a 1-cutter 5-petal cherry blossom to go with my painted cherry blossom cake, just to add an extra little oomph. And I will be teaching how to do the gum paste cherry blossoms on another day, but I thank you for joining me.